Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Al and this is my husband Dave.
Hey guys.
Dave's joining me today for this video because we're filming a video that has been highly requested, and that is, we've also got Charlie joining us too. And that video is our journey to conceiving our twins, which we did naturally. For those of you who don't know me, I'm 22 weeks pregnant with our first babies, twins. We've got a boy and a girl on the way, but our journey to get to this point was definitely up and down.
That's right.
We had some unexpected hurdles that we had to overcome with fertility, and we wanted to share our experience for anyone else out there who might be struggling with something similar to what we experienced. So Dave and I went through multiple miscarriages, and we also have some experience with male fertility as well.
That's right. So where did we start?
Okay, so a little bit of background. Dave and I always knew that we wanted to start a family, but like a lot of people, we were kind of naive in thinking that it would be really easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're taught all the way through school, it's like, you have sex, you're gonna have a child. And then when you comes to trying, it's like, oh, it doesn't actually happen that easily.
Yeah.
And you spend all your life like trying to prevent it happening, and then the time you do want it to happen, it's not that easy.
Exactly, it's not that easy, and you don't really get taught that in school. You get taught that you have sex, you'll definitely get pregnant.
Absolutely.
So when I did come off of my birth control, I was on birth control for so many years. I went on birth control when I was 15 because I had really problematic skin, and my personal experience on birth control was actually a really positive one. I really enjoyed it. So I was actually a little bit hesitant to come off it because number one, I was afraid that my skin would be really bad. How selfish does that sound? But I was worried about that. And number two, I love being able to control when I had my period because you can kind of plan it. So anyway, and number three, I genuinely thought as soon as I came off the pill and got my period back, all that kind of stuff,
Would be pregnant straight away.
Would be pregnant.
Yeah.
So I came off of the pill in March 2020. We had just gone into lockdown and we were thinking about starting a family at the end of 2020. So I came off the pill because I wanted to give myself lots of time for my cycle to get back in sync. But actually for me, when I came off the pill, 5 weeks later, I got my period naturally. I'm really fortunate because I've always had a really regular period, and that's regardless of whether I'm on birth control or not.
So then we actually did fall pregnant in September of 2020, which was, again, not planned, but it was very exciting. And with lockdowns going on all around the world, we had decided, well, if we fall pregnant, we fall pregnant. Let's get on with living our lives because we don't know how long everything is going to be shut down.
We won't be able to travel, all that stuff that we originally thought we would do pre-children wasn't going to happen. So yeah, why not start a family?
Get a dog, have a family.
Exactly.
So that's what we were looking at doing.
But sadly, that pregnancy ended, and it ended in an early miscarriage. We had decided for that first pregnancy to have a private obstetrician. Friends of ours had gone with the same obstetrician that they suggested and recommended for us. And because it was my first pregnancy, I really was looking forward to having an obstetrician who's like a specialist doctor there to answer any questions and to guide us and to help us. So we went and saw the obstetrician at what we thought was 8 weeks, didn't we?
That's right.
Into the pregnancy. Because we weren't 100% sure of when we got pregnant and how long I've been pregnant for, we were trying our best to figure it out. And I had been tracking loosely my cycle on Flow app. I have a paid subscription to Flow app, and I highly recommend it because it's a great way just to start tracking your cycle. And Flow app, just like any kind of calculator, it's not 100% accurate, but it will give you maybe an indication of what your fertile window could be. We went and saw our obstetrician. He had a scanning machine in his office, and he scanned us, and he couldn't find a heartbeat at that scan. But he thought that we might have our dates wrong, which could have possibly been the case.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until, was it a couple more weeks after that, I actually started to bleed, and the miscarriage really took hold, didn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So that pregnancy ended in a miscarriage. We were really upset about it, but also we know how common miscarriages are, unfortunately. They happen to 1 in 4 women you know, those are just like the statistics, and those are just the reported statistics. A lot of other people would experience it and not come forward. And we were told, you know, as sad as heartbreaking as that is, you know, just don't give up, try again. Your next pregnancy will be successful.
That's right. We chose to be really open about that that miscarriage, and it was incredible to me just how many people came out of the woodwork to tell us that they had also suffered miscarriage, because it's not talked about in the way that I think it should be. So that was really eye-opening, and it made us feel not better, but you know, it made us
less weird, or you
didn't
know,
make us feel like there might be fertility issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just because like it's something that is more common than spoken about. So our next pregnancy, when did we get pregnant?
On your birthday weekend
Oh,
away.
that's right.
In April of this year. So 5 months after we had that miss, I took Elle away for a night, and yeah, we fell pregnant during that trip. We were back on course again. But this one unfortunately ended even sooner than the first one.
It did.
I got a call from Elle. She was on her way to hospital with severe abdominal pains, and that was kind of that.
Because we were with that same obstetrician, as soon as I found out that we were pregnant, we called him, we came in, and he started testing my HCG levels, which were rising, and they were rising. Everything was looking really promising, and then out of nowhere, I was just crippled with the most intense pain I have ever experienced in my life. I was on the floor in the emergency room, like unable to stand. It was just awful. And I knew that surely it had to be miscarriage. And unfortunately, it was confirmed that we miscarried. And that was exactly at 5 weeks. So that was extremely early. That's actually considered a chemical pregnancy. A lot of women don't even know that they're pregnant at that point. They think their period might just be like a couple of days away. So those miscarriages, so many people don't even realize that they've had those ones because they happen so early.
We only knew because you were tracking and testing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, we could have easily missed it.
We could have, but because we caught it, we realized that we had 2 miscarriages.
No, I had 2.
And in New Zealand and so many other countries, it's 3 miscarriages before any sort of traditional health practitioner, any doctor, any obstetrician will do any testing to determine what's going on. They want you to go away, see what happens if you have a 3rd miscarriage, and if you do, then they'll look into things further. But until you've had that 3rd miscarriage, you're in this awful no man's land where you feel so upset and so stressed because, you know, what is wrong with us? What's going on? I mean, we feel really fortunate that we were able to fall pregnant. We completely understand that some people aren't even able to get to that point as we were. So you don't want to complain, but also you want to be taken seriously, that you just know something's not right, because why do you have to go through this so many times before anyone takes you seriously?
And we didn't even know about this 3 miscarriage rule until I went to my GP and said, you know, I'm worried about this. And he said, look, just keep going. And I'm sure it'll happen. Well, I demanded a sperm test, and it came back with the result that I had what's called low normal morphology. So for a normal, you know, healthy male, it's expected that you have about 5% of your sperm be viable, capable of fertilizing an egg. Mine was around 2, which suddenly was a wake-up call to me and my GP. But again, my GP brushed it off.
We found out about Dave's low sperm morphology, which kind of set out red flags for us, because having a morphology of that level could mean that we would need further assistance, like further fertility assistance, and have to go to a fertility clinic to assist us with getting pregnant. For those who are unfamiliar with like morphology, what that's referring to is the quality of the sperm. So you need to have a sperm that has a head,
1 head, 1 tail.
1 tail,
And
so
they
that
both
it
need to
can
be good.
swim in the right direction.
Yeah.
So with Dave having low morphology, that meant that he had, we just joke and we say he had janky sperm.
Yeah.
Like busted up sperm. Some had 2 heads, some had no heads, some had 2 tails, some had no tails.
Hey, I love them.
Some were headless, tailless, like, oh, we don't know. But they weren't able to swim and get the job done, basically.
Yeah.
We decided, because we weren't going to get anywhere with our obstetrician, our GPs, everybody was really lovely, but also weren't giving us any kind of
help,
direction of where to go other than just like try again and see. And as a couple, you actually have like a lot of fear built up now. Like, it's like that pregnancy excitement, it gets chipped away at each time, because it's like, oh my gosh, if we get pregnant a 3rd time, could this happen again?
Yeah,
and then again.
The excitement of getting pregnant is much lessened, because it's like,
yeah,
we don't know what's gonna happen.
We decided to do something different, and that was reach out to a naturopath. I came across Jo Barnett, who, when I read her about section on her website, she said that her background was as a pharmacist, which really resonated well with me, because I thought, oh cool, so she will understand like the traditional medicine component of things. So I got in touch with Jo, we set up an appointment, we had our first meeting with her, and for the first time in our experience, we felt so heard, didn't we?
Yeah.
She completely understood. She also offered options for us to try. She offered possible things that we could try to see if those would be solutions to what we were going through. And we had not had that before. All the other doctors just said, go away, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I've written some notes down so that I don't forget anything. So Jo's recommendations for us were both lifestyle and supplements. They were like a 2-parter.
The first thing to go was coffee. We are both coffee fiends, and this one has a lifetime membership to Starbucks, I swear. I mean, it would be pretty common for us to go to Starbucks and get a coffee with 4 shots in it. That would be not unusual at all.
No.
And with me working in an office, it would be not uncommon for me to have that 4-shot coffee plus another 2, 3, 4 coffees.
And me working at home, Nespresso's just like,
yep.
Coffee was my water, basically. It's how I stayed hydrated. And the next thing she suggested that we remove completely from our lifestyle
was alcohol.
Alcohol. Not even a little drop.
No bueno for babies.
Take it off. And then the other recommendation, this is actually one recommendation that my obstetrician also said to me that we should look into, and that was removing high intensity exercise from my lifestyle. So I had previously been doing HIIT about 5 or 6 times a week, and the recommendation was for me to stop that and slow things down, having exercise that was more like yoga, Pilates, walking, just chilling out my body so that it's not under that stress from the exercise.
So the last one that we had, which I think was major, was to stop using plastic containers and bottles.
And more natural beauty products too.
Yeah. So we replaced all our cleaning products, shampoo, you name it, with natural products, and we stopped using plastic containers and bottles
to store food,
and drink out of.
Yeah.
Which meant a lot of glass.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
We weren't perfect, and I did go and I did replace some beauty products, but it's very expensive to like overhaul your makeup and go like completely natural when you've already got a built up collection. So I just picked a couple of things, and I do have a YouTube video of some of those things, like reviewing them. So we weren't perfect, but we figured that any improvement that we made in that area surely had to be moving us in the right direction, and it was worth a try, right? Like
if it's going to be good for our health anyway, then it must be good for our reproductive health.
Yeah.
So why not give it a try?
We bought this book from Jo, which we highly recommend. It's called Create a Fertile Life. And this book goes into so much detail about lifestyle changes that are recommended if you are dealing with infertility and you're struggling after, whether that's like multiple miscarriages like us. The big things that this book really recommends that you remove are cigarettes, alcohol, and coffee. Dave and I don't smoke, so for us it was just the alcohol and the coffee that we were looking at to take out of our lifestyle. I'm referring to the book when I read these, but it says that the effects of alcohol on fertility in women The alcohol may impair ovulation, fertilization, and implantation. It might reduce your chances of conceiving, increase your risk of miscarriage. And then in men, it might reduce your testosterone, reduce sperm production, which we were already battling, and it could contribute to impotence and ejaculation problems.
We're not struggling with those.
Yeah, those weren't problems for us, but Dave's sperm
wasn't the quality at all to it.
Wasn't the quality.
Yeah.
So anything that could make that worse, we really needed to remove that. The same goes for caffeine. So in the book it says, there's evidence that women are more likely to miscarry if they regularly consume caffeine in their pregnancy. There is information out there which is completely accurate that says that having coffee in pregnancy is safe for most women. It's totally safe to have coffee, but then there's always people that don't fit into the main rule.
Yeah.
And the fear was that maybe I didn't fit into that main rule and maybe the caffeine was having an impact on that. So again, it was for us, it was just a decision of, hey, we'll try it. So those were the lifestyle changes we made. And then Joe wanted to prescribe us specialized supplements that were unique to us. And that was based off of a lot of testing that we had to get done. But we could not get a doctor to take us seriously.
That's right. She had asked us to get all manner of tests. There was a big list, which we took to our GPs, and they both said no.
Thankfully, we were able to find a doctor who herself had actually gone through a similar experience that Dave and I had. So she had a lot of compassion in terms of knowing what we were going through, and she had also worked with a naturopath who had helped her to be able to conceive her children naturally. So she understood and she really believed strongly that there was a lot of merit to what we were doing, and we felt really encouraged when we met with her and she signed off on the tests that we needed to get done. The things that we were actually prescribed, there's a book called It Starts With the Egg, and I was listening to that on Audible while we were going through this process. And in that book, it makes kind of general recommendations of supplements that you might want to try if you are looking to conceive, or if you have had issues with conceiving, or you experienced multiple miscarriages or unexplained infertility. And basically everything that we were taking was recommended in that book. And then there were a couple of additional things around that as well. So the blood tests indicated that I actually had a gluten sensitivity. So it was a recommendation that I remove gluten from my diet, which, following a keto lifestyle, by and large, I wasn't having gluten, but I was having it in some products like soy sauce, that kind of thing. Yeah, and the reason that was taken out of my diet was because it promoted a little bit of a inflammatory response in my body, and we were trying just to like minimize any inflammation to keep things nice and even keeled. In this book talks about diet as another change to make. We didn't have to make any changes to our diet because we were following a low carb keto diet. And one of the great things about a keto diet is that it's anti-inflammatory anyway. So it actually is recommended to try that as a diet if you are looking to conceive. So we were really fortunate with that was one lifestyle change we didn't have to make.
That's right. You had quite a shopping list.
Yeah, I had a lot of things. I'll put a list because I can't remember them. We have our like old prescriptions, so I can refer back to them. But Dave was on like a high quality version of Menevit to help improve his sperm health. I was on, I still am taking it, but a very high quality prenatal, fish oil, ubiquinol, I don't know, there's so many things.
There were so many.
And it was 2 months later, 2 months later that we found out that we were pregnant again.
Sorry, it's just really nice.
Oh, did you get emotional?
Yeah, it's like when you tell the story like that.
Aww.
Yeah,
That's so sweet.
It was just 2 months later. Like we started implementing those changes from that meeting.
I actually think we saw her, didn't we? We saw her straight after we miscarried. So we had been seeing her for 3 or 4 months, but we started the lifestyle changes right away, but there was a little bit of a delay, probably like a month delay, and being able to get onto the supplements because of all that mucking around Jo, our naturopath, did put us on the generic ones that she thought we would benefit from regardless of what our blood test results would be. So we were able to start some, but then the additional ones of the tweaking didn't come until after we had
Those blood
our blood test results. Yeah. Once we found out we were pregnant, a little bit of disbelief, excitement, a lot of anxiousness.
Tempered excitement.
Because
of our history.
First phone call was to Jo, our naturopath, to let her know that we were pregnant. She was thrilled for us and she wanted us to come in, see her so that we could change up what it was that we were taking, just to make sure that we were taking the right things. And second call was to my obstetrician, who was very happy for us, wanted us to come in, get scanning started, get blood testing started, and also he wanted to prescribe me some traditional medicine as well. So when we went and saw my obstetrician, I was put on progesterone tablets and also baby aspirin. I'm still taking the baby aspirin, and I took progesterone all throughout my first trimester up until I was about 16 weeks. Once I hit 14 weeks, I sort of eased myself off of them and reduced the amount I was having each day until I came off of them. And progesterone and aspirin have been shown in tests that they may help women who have suffered from miscarriage in the past to be able to hold on to a pregnancy. So having those more traditional medicines were really important to me as well. And then Jo supported us around those with some more supplements, making sure we had the right prenatal, enough folate, fish oil, all sorts of things. Yeah.
But regardless of all of that, the first trimester we were nervous wrecks the whole time.
Understatement of the century.
Having had such a terrible result the first time, it was really amazing to get a positive result the second time around. So remember that 5% viable normal morphology figure that we were aiming for? Mine came back at 9, which was good. It meant that almost 10% of the sperm I was producing were capable of getting the job done.
We were so thrilled. And the only things that we had changed in that period of time were lifestyle changes, and we had started taking those supplements from Jo. Something to encourage you if you are struggling with something similar. In the book, it starts with the egg. In the book here, create a fertile life, and also what we discussed with our naturopath and even the doctors as well, is that it takes about 3 months to kind of, if you do have low sperm morphology or you have a partner who's struggling with that, it's about a 3-month cycle for it to kind of regenerate, to get a new lot in there. And this is something, this is something that is like treatable. Like there could be something that you could do to help improve that. And the same thing with egg quality as well. You can really improve that by making those lifestyle changes and giving yourself that 3-month kind of cycle. Just to commit to it and see how you go.
That's right.
We feel so incredibly lucky, so blessed that we're here. We are not by any means trying to claim to be experts or that we have the answers. What our experience has taught us is that fertility is such a minefield.
And we barely dipped our toes in. We know that there are so many people out there who have been struggling for years to get into the position we're in now. We're so grateful for all the help we got and the fact that we are so lucky to be here now. We, as Elle said, we're not experts, and all we're sharing is our experience.
We just want to share what we experienced in the hopes that we can start the conversation and be a place where you can hear from a real couple who went through something that wasn't pleasant, but those lifestyle changes, there might be some merit to them if you haven't tried those out yet. I know that I definitely struggled with it, the idea of having to give up those things, especially when all of my friends were able to continue to drink coffee, have a glass of wine, all that stuff, and still conceive a baby, have a healthy pregnancy, and get a baby at the end of it. It's hard when you feel like you're the odd one out and like you have to make those changes.
But hey,
Yeah.
if they're changes that are worth doing anyway, why not give them a go for fertility? We're now well down the road and expecting a baby in the next few months, but I still haven't gone back to coffee in a big way. I might have 3 or 4 single shot coffees a week. I just don't need it anymore.
Yeah, and I have reintroduced the odd decaf coffee as well into my...
And that in itself has been such a
Yeah, we haven't missed it.
benefit.
We haven't missed it. So yeah, at the start, everything feels overwhelming, but we can only just encourage you just to keep going. And we're sending all of our love to you. And we really, really just want to send you our best wishes for a positive outcome for you as well.
No matter what that looks like.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. The support means the world to us. And if you're new here, make sure you hit subscribe because I upload new videos every single week, sharing our twin pregnancy journey and lots more. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.